Ciao guys and welcome back live. You may know me, Jake, from channels such as Mapdec Cycle Work. I'm back again, it's been a while, but I have got a new bike to build. I've got a V1 Factor Ostro that I got second hand. It's going to be my race bike for next year. So yeah, come along as we have a little build put together and see how we go. Now, one thing about this Ostro that I'm not entirely convinced about is the seat post clamping system. You've probably seen me knocking all the wires in here, and I'm just going to put some, well, I say some, a lot of carbon construction paste on this because the seat post is held in by this plastic wedge that sits inside the frame and then one 5mm bolt that butts against it. It's quite similar to like a Cannondale Super X system from yesteryear. Because it's a D-shaped post, I've got a little bit more faith in it than the round one, but I'm just going to absolutely lather this up and tighten it properly to 8 Newton meters. Because I don't fancy my seat post slipping. I've got the seat post in, so I can have a little bit more faith in putting some pressure on that instead of having the frame clamped in. I had it very loose, so it was wiggling all over the place. So seat post is in now, so we can get constructing. Right then, so this bottom bracket has got Paul's favourite white grease in it that he absolutely loves and adores, but I actually want to get rid of it and put some nice smooth grease in there that will make it nice and easy to bring my bottom bracket in and out. So I'm going to give it a clean with this Motorex Power Clean. I've not used it before, but it looks exciting, so let's have a go. This left hand side of the bottom bracket is just feeling a little bit stiff when I'm trying to put the cup in. It's T47, so I'm just going to re-tap it just to make sure that there's nothing getting caught, nothing getting stuck. So I obviously want this to be good for when I'm racing, no problems in the future. So we're just going to run the tap through it, make sure we're all sorted. Right, next on the agenda is cutting the steerer. Now this originally came with an absolutely monumental amount of stack. That's got to be like 40, 50mm, which is just too big for anyone. What I've done is I ordered from our good friends at VeloVias a slammed top cap, and now I'm actually going to run, instead of the cockpit that came on this, I'm going to run my old Data Super Zero RS stem and bars that I had on my S-Works previously. Now you might be thinking, this is not an internal routing setup, and you'd be right. However, this Factor has a D-shaped steerer, a funky little invention that's kind of going out of fashion, thankfully, because I think it's a bit stupid. But it does mean that I can run my non-supposedly internal cable routing stem, because there's a nice little hole in the back of it that means both of my brake hoses can fit through there. So I'm going to test it out with this. I might run it with a 140 because the dimensions are a little bit tight, but I'm going to run it with a 130 for now, see how I get on. And I might buy a 140 super box to allow me a little bit more wiggle room with the cables, but we'll see. But this is getting slammed, it's gonna look pro.
If you don't remember, Jake used to work here and you went off on a season worth of racing.
Yeah.
So this thumbnail, I thought we were going to call it The Realities of Racing. So what has happened in your first season? It's been about a year now, isn't it?
Yeah, about 9 months since I left, I think. It was March the 1st was the day.
You remember it so
I
well.
remember. So yeah, it's been a full season's worth of racing. I kind of had a better season than I could have really hoped for in terms of the opportunities that I've got and the places that I've got to go and all that sort of stuff. It's been really great. And
I mean, the attitude was that you saved up enough money just to have the opportunity to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
So what sort of opportunities came your way with that?
So at the start of the year, I joined a new team called 360 Cycling.
Yeah.
That gave me the chance to go and race abroad and have a better base for racing in the UK as well, more support, better teammates, more people to ride with. And so we went on a trip at the start of May to the end of June. Where we went to Germany, we raced S1 Frankfurt, which was my first UCI, my first international race.
You did well, actually.
Yeah, got round in the second group. Best thing from that day was I got a fist bump from Julian Alaphilippe on the start line, my all-time hero. So that was pretty cool. And then we went to France and did some national races, which was something a little bit lower level than the UCI stuff, so it was good kind of to be able to cut our teeth on that and get stuck in. And then we had another second trip to France for a couple more weeks, which again, national level, where I felt a lot more comfortable. I felt first trip was sort of a lot.
And this
of
is
learning.
French national level, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yeah, which is quite a.
Is it a difference?
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think personally, I think the best riders are probably about the same in terms of the absolute best riders. Like you see this year, Adam Howell, who's been the best domestic rider, is going over to like that's now what is now a Conti team, but very high level of French racing.
Yeah.
And the sort of those guys are kind of the same level, but there's just so many more of them. There's maybe one or two guys.
So a much deeper depth of talent.
You know, you turn up to a British national and there's maybe 5 or 6 people that could win, and you turn up to a French national and there's 50 or 60 that are all at the same level.
And you're in that mix.
Yeah, there's a lot of learning, I think, this year.
So that was the stuff that you had planned, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was stuff that happened. And then what else happened with the freedom of not having to work?
Well, I mean, obviously that was being able to go on those because that was 6 weeks worth of time away. It was obviously hard to take off from a real job, coming to work every day.
Yeah, it would have been tough after some 6 week off.
Exactly. Yeah, in a row as well. Yeah. But then after some good results in the UK as well, I got an invite from Zappi, like Ben Granger and John Roberts fighting my corner and Nick Candy.
So if you don't know, Ben Granger is another local lad. He's probably a year older or so.
Ben's 25, 26 now.
But probably
so
a couple of years ahead of
me.
you in the sort of the system of going through racing. Yeah. So Ben's done really well this year. So anyway, go on.
And so I got an invite to go out to Zappi, which is an Italian team with a lot of British riders, English speaking riders, where they've got a really good base there to go and race some Italian nationals for a couple of weeks, which was a great opportunity. And went out, raced, did quite well, ended up staying there for 2 months. And I'm going back next year. And I was only supposed to be going for like 3 races.
So you're now going to be on Team Zappi.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. So Team Zappi is somewhat of a paid team.
Yeah.
Talk us through what Team Zappi is for.
So for people that don't know, like Zappi is basically a team. It's been knocking around for at least 10 years now. And it's like a system where basically British riders can go and prove themselves in a foreign environment, because if you're not making it as like a junior, as a really talented rider, it's very difficult for British riders to be able to get opportunities abroad, because just the system doesn't translate. We don't get foreign riders coming across. The teams don't know how good you are. They don't, it's difficult to get on those teams. So you need a place where you can prove yourself, and Zappi provides an opportunity basically where you can go and you can pay to live there and get all your racing and all that sort of stuff, and you can go for a full season where you can then choose to try and give yourself the opportunity to then be able to step up to continental or that kind of next level.
So people often use it as a gap year, don't they, I guess, rather than going off away travelling. They have a year racing with Zappi, and if they love it, if they enjoy it, if they're good at it, they might progress like Ben has. Ben's just gone pro, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And now you've done your first 6 months as a bit of filling a gap, and now you're on the team properly.
So hopefully a full season of Italian racing coming up. I'm just really excited to get stuck in.
I bet you are.
It's the first time as well this winter that I've had a full winter of proper training, where I've actually, like last winter, as much as I was riding, you're at work 8 hours a day. You can only ride so far and so hard in the dark after you've been on your feet all day. It is taxing.
Yeah,
to
once
an
you're
extent.
dedicated to being a pro athlete, you're dedicated to being a pro athlete.
So now cool. To have a proper winter underneath me, I'm really excited to see what I can kind of get stuck into.
Excellent. And you've got a Factor.
I do. I have a new bike.
So you are the stalwart of like your rim brake S-Works.
Yeah.
So what's happened, Jake?
Well, I'm sure many viewers of the channel will know my beloved
Comments
Tiffany.
are getting mad already.
The SL6. I had that for 3 seasons now.
Yeah, it must be.
And I do think it's finally run its course with the level that I've got to. I still stand by. I think you can still race rim brakes in the UK.
Okay, in the UK.
In the UK being the key term.
So what have you learned that's made you go to...
In England, the hills aren't that long. They're usually fairly steep. The kind of key point is the descents are also not that long.
Yeah.
So you've only usually got 1 or 2 corners to negotiate.
We don't tend to put corners in descents, do we?
No, they're just straight and fast, and you've got 1 corner at the bottom. And so with that, you have to brake hard for 1 corner, but it's only 1 corner at a time. Whereas when you're abroad and you've got 10, 15, 20-minute climbs in a race, that then comes with obviously a much longer 10, 15-minute descent on the back of it. When you've got a lot of corners, combined braking, overlaps, steep descents and stuff like that, I found I was really overworking the bike in terms of I have to brake so much more aggressively than everyone else. I'm kind of out of sync as well, which feels a little bit dangerous.
Yeah.
But it got to the point...
Is that other riders expecting you to brake somewhere and you're braking a bit earlier?
Yeah, kind of. It is just, everyone on discs can brake at a certain point. They know where they can stop, and I have to start stopping earlier. I don't slow down as fast. So it's just... And the main limitation I found was on those long descents, I would start overheating the brakes because I'm having to be so aggressive on them. They'd start screaming at me, and at a certain point they're not working very well.
Yeah.
So I think I've run my course with racing on rim brakes for now.
And this is, your team's going to be sponsored by Factor, or there's some sort of weird...
Yeah, we've got a deal with Factor. Beltrami, who's the Italian Factor dealer, is on the jersey. So most riders are riding Factor. And
the realities of racing, again, you're not on the latest Factor 1 aerodynamic superbike, are you?
No, although I don't think that would be the best fit for me, about a 500 watt peak. So yeah, most of the lads are on Factor. This is a generation old Ostro actually. I picked this up second hand for pretty cheap because it's got a little bit of damage on it. Which I, took a bit of a gamble on. Went to look at it beforehand, all that sort of stuff. Found it doesn't go all the way through. Fairly happy to get it repaired by a local carbon guy that
because you still, when you say sponsored, it's not free, is it? You still got to pay what, trade plus VAT or something for the bike. So you've chosen to go for a second-hand one, so you're still on brand. And of course, and it's nice to finally be on like a modern machine. That's as much as I love the SL6. I think this will hopefully be a step up in performance. And I guess the realities are you're off constantly putting it into bike boxes, taking it to races, putting it into the back of team trucks. You've got to have something that can take a bit of abuse and not £12,000 Factor 1.
Well, I mean, at some point this would have been fairly expensive, and it's still, and to me it still was pretty expensive. Of course, obviously, being a professional athlete, having not worked for the last year,
grassroots professional athlete, absolutely,
having not worked for the last year, I've got to be fairly careful with my money. So I think this is a pretty good compromise in terms of it's not the absolute latest and greatest thing, but it's only one generation old, and I think I'll still get really good use out of this for a couple of seasons if I need to.
Oh, absolutely, you've got something in cracking condition, like I say, there's a few scuffs on it, but it looks great. It's going to go well. So if you had to leave this chat and say, there's anyone out there in a similar situation, anxious, like should I leave work and go and follow my dream? Has it worked okay for you? Are you happy with the decision?
I've honestly had the best year ever. Like, it's been absolutely brilliant. Like, the people I've met, the stuff I've been able to do. I sort of never really, you always dream of it, but you never really think, when you get to a certain, you get to a point of understanding, you never think that sort of stuff's going to be real. But actually being able to go and do it, it's just been like really, really cool. Excellent. So I would just say, just do it. Just do it. And it's easy enough to say that, it is difficult to kind of make that decision. It took me quite a while to come to that.
Oh, I know.
At the start of this year. But just do it. Just
brilliant.
Do it.
Well done, Jake. It's absolutely a pleasure having you back in. Have a fantastic season. And thanks for coming in, Jake. Hope you enjoyed this video.
Thanks very much for having me.